Hello and welcome everyone. This is the live stream. This is the first live stream that we're doing, and let's hope we get to keep this up every day. Um, Now I realize most of you all might be working somewhere, or you might be studying, having all your academic pursuits, and although you might want to stay updated with the events going across the world, you might not be getting time due to various reasons. Like I just mentioned, you might be working somewhere, and you might not be having a time to go through the newspapers or browse through the social media for the headlines. That is why I'm here. Okay, now let's go through some headlines. So this live stream is about reacting to the headlines of the major newspapers and the major media houses across the world. So let's see what the media houses have for us. All right. One of the headlines that has managed to escape the attention of the commoner is the elections in Odisha, the coastal state of Odisha. It is in the eastern part of the subcontinent. It is the neighboring state of West Bengal and Jharkhand. It is where the Lord Jagannath resides. So, in that state, the chief minister, that is Naveen Patnaik, had been ruling over there for the past 25 years. And this is the first time that he has lost majority in the state legislature. So this shows that uh, it's kind of a letdown because if you see, if there has been a strong leader at the leading the state government for more than 2 decades, it shows the popularity that that particular leader has among the people of that state. But now it is the BJP that has come to power, wrested the power from the BJD, that is Biju Janata Dal, that was the ruling party in Odisha. But yeah, in the midst of all the Lok Sabha, in the midst of all the Lok Sabha news, this is something that you might have missed your attention. And yeah, so the chief minister, that is Naveen Patnaik, he has submitted his resignation to the governor. That is the standard procedure in our democracy. Uh, whenever the whenever a democratic leader who has been elected by direct election, when he loses power, he tenders his resignation to the governor, and that is what he has done. So to wrap up, the exact numbers are: the Bharatiya Janata Party, that is BJP, they won 78 out of the total 147 seats in the state legislature of Odisha. And the magic number, that is the almost magic number is something, the minimum number of seats that you need to have to form a government in a state. So the magic number was 74, and the BJP now has 78. So all eyes are now on who might be the next chief minister. Keep in mind, this is the first time that BJP is coming to power in Odisha. So let's see how. So yeah, there has although BJP has lost the state of Uttar Pradesh, not exactly lost the state of Uttar Pradesh, but more than half of its seats have gone to SP, that is Samajwadi Party, led by Akhilesh Yadav. But let's see, that is what is in Odisha. Kejriwal. Kejriwal has and is putting up a very brave fight. He constantly is putting up bail requests in courthouses. Very recently, again, an interim bail request of the Delhi chief minister has been rejected by Rose Avenue Court. So he is regularly filing bail requests, but unfortunately, he is not. His requests are not falling. His requests are not being taken up by the court, and it's being dismissed. Now, keep in mind, he has cited medical reasons. Now, if you see these politicians, whenever they go to jail, They always cite medical reasons for bail. So I hope the concerned authorities of the jail, they took take good care of him. You know. So let's see, why is he in the jail in the first place if he thinks he is innocent? Like ED and all the agencies have gone on record and issued a statement that there is indeed hard evidence against Arvind Kejriwal. So if you are of the opinion that this is all political and he has been in jail due to political reasons, so I guess then ED is also political, courts are also political, everything else from top to bottom is political. All right. The country of Indonesia. Indonesia plans to start working from a new capital city in July. Now, yeah, there are countries out there who change capitals, political capitals, due to multiple reasons. And the recent capital of Indonesia is Jakarta, and the leaders of the Indonesia are of the opinion that Indonesia and Jakarta as a capital city no more represents the character of the nation that is Indonesia. So they have chosen another capital, that is the city of Nusantara. It is on the island of Borneo. So yeah, Borneo is one of the islands on Indonesia, and they're going to spend somewhere close to $32 billion to develop this capital city. So uh, if you think capital cities do play an important role, because whenever global media houses refer to you, so if you look it up on the internet, on the websites of Reuters, on the website of Associated Press, these these countries refer to the statements that you make by the name of your capital. So if you read some headlines, it will go like saying that Moscow responds, or New Delhi responds to USA, or Beijing on its stance. So that is why the capital, it matters. All right, so your capital has to have an exact representation of the character of your nation, and Indonesia is making the move to change it. Let's see how that move turns out to be. All right, now Russia and Ukraine, they have managed to stay in headline for like it's been months now since Russia and Ukraine have been in the headlines. So so there is this phenomenon of bipolar world. So the theory of bipolar world says that the entire politics and the geopolitics of the entire world revolves around the two poles. That is, one is USA, and the other one is the former colonial countries of Europe, such as UK, France, Germany. So, according to the theory of bipolar, the international politics of the world should always be shaped by the narratives of these two countries, such as USA and the former European countries. Picking up the threads from the Cold War, it has always been Russia that has been the bulwark of countering the Western influence in this part of the world, namely Asia. All the majority of the Russian territories, such as Moscow and all the developed territories, are part of Europe, but significant amount of geography that Russia has is in the Asian continent. And that is why you see there is this close camaraderie between Russia and China, and even North Korea for that matter. So that is what Russia is countering. So whenever you see anything that goes on across the world, if the West has taken some stance, you will usually find Russia on the opposite side of that stance. And it is Russia's way of conveying that you no longer decide the narratives, we also present a counter narrative. So, yes, there is a country called Burkina Faso in West Africa, and Russia has promised to send some of the military equipments, Russia to provide military aid and instructors to Burkina Faso. Now, if you have been closely following these developments in the countries of North Africa, you will see that they are currently reeling from the devastating effects of fundamental Islamism, meaning that majority of the countries over there are under Islamic influence. I would say radical Islamic influence, for that matter. So, yeah, I mean, yeah, it's all on the internet. You don't have to take my word for it. You can obviously go on the internet and always verify the things that I say. So yes, Russia will provide military equipments, mercenaries to Burkina Faso. There was a military coup. For those of you who don't know, coup means when military forcefully takes over the democratic elected leaders of a country and starts running the country. We have seen that happening in more closer to a neighborhood such as Pakistan. So yeah, so many other countries that have accepted help from Moscow, and those countries are Mali, Burkina Faso, Niger. So all these countries have accepted military help from Russia. So it is kind of sort of a counter to the Western influence. Let's see what. Now another one. Quite obviously, there was this headline in one of the Reuters article that is Kremlin says that U.S. is blackmailing China by threatening sanctions over its exports to Russia. All right. So if you have been closely following the developments in the West, you would obviously realize this that U.S. has always been adversarial towards its attitude towards Moscow. Now, agreed that there have been times in history where both of those countries have come together, especially in World War II. But there are apprehensions in the White House about the growing relationship between Russia and China, because initially, post Cold War, United States was of the opinion that sanctions would be enough to check the behavior and check the development of Moscow, but that has not been the case. Whatever whatever the states thought that they would check and control with sanctions, Russia is easily circumventing those sanctions by its trade relations with China. And so what these countries do is they don't directly supply military weapons. They are a little bit too smart for that. So what these countries do is they export dual use goods, meaning they indulge in trade of goods that can have dual applications. One of them could be civil applications, another could be military applications. So when you have dual use goods, you can circumvent those sanctions on countries. So so the parliament of Russia has accused United States of blackmailing China, that you are somehow strong arming China into not supply those goods. And okay, so the exact words of I would say, who is this person? So the spokesman for Kremlin is Dmitry Peskov, and he has given this statement that we are well aware that our Chinese comrades do not accept such language, do not accept such messages and such threats and such blackmail. Yeah. So this was in response to the comments by the U.S. Treasury Secretary, that is Janet Yellen. She says, and according to her, is Washington would not tolerate China increasing its exports of dual-use goods to Russia and would respond with sanctions as blackmail. So it is also threatening China with sanctions. Now, keep in mind that China is the topmost trading partner for the United States. So the idea of bipolar dominance of the world, and when I say bipolar, meaning US and the Western European countries. So the foundation of that is how they can how they can control the demand and supply in the other part of the world, because they hold the keys to manufacturing. But now that we have China in the Asian subcontinent, it has massively increased its industrial capacity. So the threat that US and all those Western European countries had does not hold water anymore, and that is what is hurting them. And hence they resort to such maneuvers such as blackmailing and strong arming countries such as Russia and China into doing their own bid. So yeah, some of the goods that are mentioned over here is China is the top supplier of machine tools, microelectronics, nitrocellulose, which is critical to making munitions and rocket propellants. So there are substances that China is exporting to Russia, and that Russia is using it in non-civilian purposes, I would say, because that is what US is accusing Moscow of. Yeah. Now, so there are two things that you need to keep in mind is if indeed the West is very serious about solving the crisis that is currently ongoing on the border areas of Russia and Ukraine. So get this, they are organizing a peace summit in Switzerland. There's a town in Switzerland called Lucerne. So they will be hosting a summit with more than 100 countries participating in it. So very recently, in one of the previous videos, we discussed about how Zelensky was in Singapore giving a speech at the Shangri-La Dialogue, and he's here to rally support from the Asian countries. So again, you could see that equation how United States is countering the Russian influence in Ukraine by winning more and more Asian countries to its side. So that is why Zelensky is here. So more recently, Zelensky was seen in Qatar. So Zelensky is also rallying to get support from the West Asian countries. One of them is Qatar. Qatar has immense financial resources to fund wars. Qatar is also uh, one of the channels through which Hamas, that is fighting in Palestine, how Hamas is getting funds. So Qatar has that ability of financing large scale conflicts. So hence Zelensky is in Qatar, and he's there again to rally support. He has invited a lot of Gulf countries towards the peace summit in Switzerland. So let's see what these efforts yield. So the response that came from Moscow towards not getting invited to the Swiss summit was Swiss summit on Ukraine is a waste of time without Russia. Now, obviously, if you see there is a pattern over here, if you are willing to achieve a long-lasting peace, you need consensus from both the sides that are involved. And if you are hosting a peace summit with just one side, I really don't see uh, how this will result in any progress. So let's see what is the outcome of this summit. And yeah, all right. So that's about it for today. Headlines from the newspapers and media houses across the world. I'll see you in the next video.